Hello, what's going on? Good morning. Hopefully everyone had a good long weekend there. We'll give it one more minute for people to join, and then we'll go through George. I'll go through the Discord, we'll go through the site, and we'll go through charts right afterwards. All right, good enough. We'll get. I'll send out the link afterwards, anyways, and then whoever starts rolling in rolls in. Let's go through George. I'll go through the Discord first, but I want to call a few things out. One, we let George trade himself. George initially started off as I wouldn't call it a signaling service, but an experiment that we want to look into around how dealers are positioned, how market makers work. If we can fade the crowd and sentiment, then typically that's really where you find your best ROI. And fundamentally, that's how market makers work anyways. They'll manipulate you out of your money in the first 30 minutes and then kind of reverse course through the day. And especially in the last half hour, we see that a lot. So that's really where George started from. It was all about fading the crowds. And we realized quickly that if we can build in tooling around how dealers work, use things like physics and genetics to better understand where price might move and how it might behave, then could we have something of value here that we can share with other folks that can help as a signaling service or build confidence in the trades. So that's what George started off as, and the reason he trades himself, and this is all paper trading, by the way, there's no broker connected to this at all, is so we can fine tune our models, whether that's on the physics side, genetic side. It might be around deal exposure or the mathematics behind it. But fundamentally, there's no AI, there's no intelligence behind this. It's all pure functions. It's all looking at how price reacts at certain levels, at certain areas, and how it doesn't react at certain levels in certain areas. And where dealer exposure might fit in. And then we also built the smart money system behind it. So we can go look at hundreds of different tickers, understand the rotation behind different pages or different industries and index sector stock, and see where that money is going, so we can come up with a better service, not just for us to trade with, but also to see where the money's actually flowing, so we can play those tickers ultimately. So I'll go through the site last because I think that's really important. But in Discord, the way that this is structured is we have a couple different areas. One is just called George. This is where you have the general chat. I'll post some updates, remember trade ideas, profit and losses, and earning plays. And a lot of these are bot driven. So like earnings is primarily bot driven. Nothing here, at least in the coming week, that I'm interested in. And usually what happens is if I'm interested in an earning play, I'll use George for Confident and we'll look at the site afterwards and I'll post it in the paid members chat. So paid Cope chat is where Bobs and Pups hang out. The SPX members don't have access to this because ultimately it's, I wanted to differentiate the tiers here between the SPX plan, which is all around SPX trading, versus what the Pups and Bobs sees, which is around a broader segment of stocks, whether that's in the technology sector, healthcare, it doesn't really matter. We kind of play everything in between. And admin summaries is where Bobs hang out for all the swings that we're taking, whether that's myself, Easy, Timmy, whoever it might be. And then we'll use George for Confidence into all these plays. And so far they've gone really well. I think this is, again, still like an 88% win rate on the swings. Sometimes I post leaps. For example, I took these Verizon leaps. Still got loads of time, but it's already up 55%. Great. If you want to take the win, you can, but we still have about a year left on that contract. Now, SPX intraday signals, and again, this is all under paid membership. This is where I'll post my own plays using George for Confidence. And then we also have Sky and Neek, who will also give us signals into what they're thinking about. And then what I try to do with Neek and Sky is come up with a plan for this week or the next week, whatever it might be. And we also track these whales. We've built the whale analysis system within George ultimately. But how it started off initially was we would look at, are they closing their puts a couple weeks out? Are they in the money? or are they not out of, or are they out of the money? And then we'll see if they're closing those puts so we can get calls. If they're getting calls, we'll kind of track them. If they're closing calls, we'll get puts. And so we've been tracking these whales for quite some time, and it's worked out really well. And so what we'll do is we'll post these plays. That's me zooming in, by the way, but we'll post these plays the best of our abilities. And really what Nick does best is he's more focused on swings. Sky's more focused on 15-minute scalps, and my plays really take about an hour or two to develop because I'm using the 4-hour chart for the most part and daily. So I know that within the next hour or two, the play that I will post is going to hit or not. I posted a June recap on Thursday, I think it was. Overall, 83% win rate. Not bad, not great, but overall, we've had a pretty good run on the SPX plays that I've been sharing out. No stream and audio. Weird. Y'all can hear me, right? Let me know if you can hear me. Otherwise, I've just been talking to myself this whole time, which is not ideal. It's not bad, but it's not ideal. God damn it. All right, let me see what's going on. One sec. I might just have to restart Discord. One sec. Okay, can you guys hear me now or no? Discord, classic. Anyways, I'll go through this again. Man, I was just talking to myself for the last 5 minutes. All right, okay, George started off as a crowd sentiment analysis system, and then we hooked up things like smart money analysis. We hooked up things like physics and genetics to better understand where price reacts and how it doesn't react. And George will try to take his own trades, and this is all paper trading. There's no brokerage around this, but it helps us fine-tune our models. There's no intelligence behind this. There's no AI. There's no LLMs. And what we do is we try to make it as logical as possible because fundamentally I realize that, you know, when smart money moves, they're not looking at moving through using like these large data sets or data models. That's how they price things, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to actual trading, they're using levels, they're using Fibonacci's, they're using the trends here and liquidity to better move the money that they're moving. So that's what George does in a nutshell. And how Discord is structured is we do have this general section, which is available for all members regardless of plan. Then we have the paid members. I'll go through channel by channel. Admin summary is really just limited to Bob's right now because I want to find value here for the highest tier subscription. And usually it's myself, Timmy, Easy, sometimes Shatter, or some of the interns posting here. And we'll use George for confidence on these trades. And overall, this is still like an 88% win rate on everything that we've posted in the admin summaries. And again, this is only for Bob's for the time being. Paid Cope Chat is where Bob's and Pups hang out. We talk about plays, we talk about random things, we talk about like, you know, what's going on the macro side. And SPX intraday signals, this is where I think a vast majority of you are. This is the plays that I take, myself or Sky or Neek. For me, my plays take about an hour to develop. And it's averaging at about an 80% win rate, 83% win rate, if I remember right, when I posted for the June overview. And then Sky's take about 15 minutes to play out. He's more looking at scalps. They're still pretty profitable. And Neek does more swings. And what we do together is we try to understand where market makers are positioned with using tools like George, but also looking at these high value contracts. So they're closing their puts, which we saw about a week ago. 2 weeks ago at this point in time, we knew that we could go long. And I think everyone else was swinging puts. We swung calls. They were highly profitable. And what we try to do is just we try to negotiate with ourselves, like what we're seeing behind the scenes. And we come up with a plan around how this will actually shake out over the next couple of days or a couple of weeks. So this is where I'll post the plays or Sky or Unique. And then 500 SPY challenge is what I've been doing. I've been sharing the entire P&L, all the trades that I'm taking, when I get in, when I sell them. And then this is just on SPY. So maybe I'll take like 1 or 2 trades a day on this. That's worked out really well. There's a channel called No Broken Eggs, which no one has access to except for Egg. I got to put him back in jail. Fundamentally, that's because I want to make sure that Egg themselves learn how to trade before they take their own. Then we have this intern channel, which I think is available to everyone, except for maybe the SPX plan. And they'll post some plays that are pretty profitable. Like we'll get like, nice plays from Sean, from Metabolic or Judy, from Fighter and Poopy and a couple others. And the goal there is to make sure that we have a home for the tickers that I don't look at, that George doesn't look at. For example, I've never looked at C in my life, but this is still a pretty profitable trade that took about a couple of days or a couple of hours to develop. Now, the Apex channel, this is where it gets fun for us. This is where we can find the big prints. So what we did with George is we hooked him up to exchange data, and we can now track whale accumulation over multiple days, multiple weeks. I'll show you this on a site in a second. And this is where the big prints come in. So like he'll say, hey, buy and forget this play. And then this will take like a couple minutes, maybe an hour or two to develop. And he'll tell us if it's going to be short today or long. Now, typically we'll get this data around 10 a.m. What I try to do over the weekend is to get it around 9:30, 9:32. So we'll see how this kind of plays out today. But ultimately, these have been pretty profitable for us because it's just how dealers are positioned, what they're loading up on and what they're not loading up on. And when you'll see like a reversal here, for example, at the end of the day, this is how we got an 800% play or maybe even a 10x play on the 70, I think it was 74, 75 calls. That went from $85 to about 850. So 10x right there. But they unwound the puts and we went long. They had 351 on Thursday and that ended up printing really nicely. So we had him exchange data with the exchanges and better understand from all the analysis and all the research that we've done and how we trade between myself and Nick and Sky, how we want to structure the data that comes into George so we can better understand if they're closing their puts so we can go long, or if they're closing their calls so we can get puts, or if they're somewhere in between, we kind of know what the direction is as the day develops. So this is going to be your home if you're on the SPX plan between the SPX and intraday signals and the Apex or the sus strikes. One thing I did add in for Pups and Bobs is the zero-dated tickers. So we had a lot of bearish flow for Apple, for Meta, for Microsoft, and a couple other tickers. And then we'll find if they're accumulating, for example, they're starting to accumulate, for this week, the 395 calls for Tesla, maybe something happens there. Google puts for a couple of days out. NVIDIA puts, SanDisk calls. I think SanDisk has earnings later today anyways. So these will end up printing. And the goal here is to make sure that whatever shows up on the site also shows up in a Discord. There's some folks that just want to use Discord. That's totally fine with us. There's some folks, I'm in this minority here where I only use the site. I only look at Discord for posting plays, replying to messages, or seeing what the interns are up to or the paid channels up to. But that's fundamentally how I use the site and the Discord, and we'll get to the site in a second. NDX and RUT also has the same treatment compared to SPX. With NDX, there's a bit of an issue. We can't actually get the data on the contracts, so I'm still looking into that, but RUT works really well. And then for paid members, we also have the features channel where we just post our plays. So like yesterday, I went short on NQ, ended up getting stopped out, but I re-entered that short and ended up taking profit at, I think it was like 29,700 or something like that. We also have a stock picks channel. It's been pretty light in here for the last couple of weeks. The reason is it's just hard to swing right now, even on commons, but I'll try to post more stocks as I see them. Everyone should have access to the learning channel. This is available to all members regardless of plan. And here you can ask us questions. I'll share some of the indicators that I'm building out or what I'm seeing. HappyCube does a really good job of documenting their own trades and then sharing them and some of the signals that they're seeing. But this is a learning channel that's available to all. And then institutional volume alert. So we'll see like where the call walls are, where the put walls are, what they're loading up on, what they're offloading, etc. And this also feeds into some of the rotation analysis that George does. We have a news feed system and a sus hit system. Sus hits, it's really hit or miss because it also includes a few retail whales. This is not just primarily institutional driven compared to something like SPX 0DTE Apex or sus strikes. This is still a good signal, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you'll have like a cluster between like, hey, you'll have calls and puts kind of coming in together, and it's hard to see unless you have alignment where the direction will be moving forward. Paid voice and paid stage is what I use all the time to get pups and bobs on calls every morning. So every morning from 9:20 a.m. till about 10 a.m., I'll do a live stream. We'll just go through some trade ideas, what George is seeing, what the institutional volume looks like, where the dealer exposure is. That's only available to bobs and pups. And then we'll also do a similar stream at the end of the day for the last 20 minutes or so for the lottos. And then, as I said before, George does his own trades. And we'll see those trades right within the zero-dated alert section or the swing alert section. One cool thing for Bob's is education. We spend a lot of time helping folks understand how to trade and why we trade, what to look for, what not to look for. So we've gone through things like gamma exposure. We've gone through things like how negative gamma works, how positive gamma works, long-term investing ideas, how the yield yen spikes will impact the markets, SpaceX, IPN, everything in between. But this is a pretty good resource, I think, because this doesn't really exist outside of George, at least not from what I've seen, and helping folks understand what to trade, how to trade it, and how to build the confluence that they need in order to move forward with their trading journey. Similar to the Bob Zero Dated Alert section, we have an alert section for pups. Again, these are George trades. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but overall, he's been getting better and better. And we've been fine-tuning some of the parameters, not just in how he signals to us, but how he is able to take his own trade. And the same goes for analysis. He'll look at, some of these swings that he's looking at. Gold is bullish, silver is bullish, whatever this is bullish. And then JPM is bullish. So we already know that financials are catching bids and healthcare is catching bids, and it is what it is. And then we do have a couple of off-topic areas for music, for foodies, for sports. I've muted a lot of these channels. I go into them every now and then, but it is what it is. And free alerts. I love this page because you can just go into the free alerts. These are available for everyone, regardless of plan. And you can even link out from here to the site to better see what he's looking at. George has his own $500 challenge that he's doing. He's already up about 100% on this portfolio. It took about 6 weeks to do. Not ideal, but it is what it is. I kind of got him to move slowly on that one. He has a 68% win rate. And then Tim Ideas, that's where Tim will be sharing some of his ideas as time moves forward. So that's Discord. I know it can get confusing, but where I look at vast majority of my times on the site, and I'll come to Zero Dated Apex or set strikes. Again, the data will show up in both places. On the site and Discord really is your preference and how things go. And the intraday signals only show up in Discord because I can't get them from what I'm posting into the site just yet. Still figuring out a system around that. All right, now the fun part, let's go to the site. So on the right, you'll see what the trades that he's taken. Some are profitable, some are not. He gets stopped out really quickly. And typically when he gets stopped out is when I try to enter, because then I know that the risk and reward is kind of sound and he's already taken the early trade for us. So he's got stopped out at 30% stop loss, or 27 in this case. I'm trying to go enter that. The neat thing about this is we do have smart money flow. We also have opening prints, flow, big prints, momentum, etc. You can go look at this all day and every day. But what I'd like to use George for is looking at where there's sell side liquidity, buy side liquidity, where the call walls are and what the put walls are. So 757 is the call wall, put wall is 735 on SPY, and some of the suggestions that he might have around this. And then below that, there's also detailed analysis for each ticker in his universe. So you'll see things like SPX and SPY, but you'll also see the technology rotation on Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA. Oil is a big one, especially in the last couple months. And then memory and storage, he's already looking at buying calls here because he's expecting a bullish reversal based on structure alone. He doesn't know that SanDisk has earnings, but overall he's pretty bullish on SanDisk as it goes. So that's the homepage. Where I spend most of my time, frankly, is on the SPX Zero DTE page. And so you'll see everything on the Trade Now card for when institutions are loading up, whether that's on a call or put. If you see both a call and a put, just wait for one Fed to clear out before you take a trade. And then to see your MOC, so the last 20 minutes, what's going to happen here. That's how we're able to capture those 800% moves at the end of the day. And you'll have supporting flow here right below the Trade Now section on the big prints, on the momentum ignition, which is how the EMAs are crossing on the contract, not necessarily the chart on SPX, but the contracts themselves. And then the block sniper for what zero dated blocks are getting the most hits over the last 30 minutes. Whale accumulation and the accumulation sniper. Now, typically, I don't pay attention to these because they're not really the most useful, but they help you give a general direction in the trend for that day or that hour or whatever it might be. And Trade Now is really the best bang for your buck. And again, the information that shows up here will also show up in the SPX Zero Dated Apex channel within Discord. The index read is nice because it helps us identify where the tape might be at open. Right now, he's looking at the 7,500 puts, for example, and the opening plays, whatever that might be. So right now, we see a lot of volume building towards the downside, frankly, around 74.75, 74.50, and 74.70. Whether that is a manipulation tactic for the first 30 minutes or not, we'll see. And then this is the deal exposure in terms of pure volume on the strikes here. So 7,500, 1.1 billion. You have a lot of exposure at 74.75, which is probably your pin target for today. And then what I look at is the top. So if we're trending around $20 billion or less during that day, is typically chop. That's what I've noticed. Anything above 20 billion collectively, that is a pretty good day to play in full size on. So today I would not go full size on anything, maybe do a couple lotto contracts, maybe like half sizing. But as it stands right now, there's not a lot of pre-market volume. And this will change at open, don't get me wrong. This will change every like 30 seconds or whatever it is, near real time. But the idea here is the more momentum you have, the more volume you have, the more volatility you have in the market. So we can play both sides, calls or puts, doesn't matter, in whatever flavor that comes into the day. And below that, you'll see like the bearish trend right now, which is what dealers are doing. So if I go look at the chart really quickly, you'll kind of see what I mean. I'll go look at the 24/7 chart here on SpreadX. And he's exactly right? So we ended up rejecting from this level, came back down. Maybe this area holds, maybe not. But overall, the trend right now is bearish, and he's watching for the next 2 minutes and 20 seconds, or 30 seconds in this case, to better decide what he wants to do. Below that, you'll have live signals and smart money campaigns. I love this area because it helps me understand where we might end up in 6 months, 2 weeks, a month from now, our weeklies. And right now, it's a mix of calls and puts. When this is all calls, that means you're going to be going long that week for the most part. If it's all puts, then you're going to want to short all the pops here. So a lot of these are likely hedges because we can't track if it's a buy or sell, but we know from accumulation of similar size contracts, and this is where that conviction number comes from, that this is most likely a hedge based on the volume of the contract. It's 1 million in shares, 1.3 million in strike price, 1.4 million, whatever. And until I see a big print over like $1 billion, then it's likely hedges. And they've rolled this twice, they've rolled this twice, they've rolled this twice. It's two-sided. That means they're selling the puts and buying calls, and then accumulating these 74.80s for the last couple of days, whatever it might be. So the first time we saw this print was 3 days ago, and they're still accumulating for the upside for today. Now below that, you'll have a lot of different sections, which I don't want to go into because it's pretty convoluted and it'll take a lot of time. But if you are curious about like how volatility is setting up or what the playbooks are, you can also look at this. And then what the dealer gauges are. So right now it's called heavy, or at least it was on Thursday afternoon. And if that changes, it changes. But that's the home that I look at all the time for SPX. And you can flip between NDX and RUT. That's available on all plans. But that's really how I use this page. I'll go into the pulse really quickly before I go into charts. This is all about like understanding where the dealers are, their flows. So we can see a call wall here that's been rejected, at least a short-term one. And you have some good support between this. So we try to make sure that we understand where the money is, where they're moving. So right now they're moving towards Sandisk. Again, they have earnings today, which is cool. And we can automatically pick that up. Leader, silver, right down commodities. Indices, SPY is outperforming QQQ right now, which is great. And Google is leading. Whether that's on the call side or put side, it doesn't matter to us. We just know that's what the volume is as it stands right now. I'm not going to go through dealer flow or GAM exposure. You can go look at those themselves. Flow, this is powered by Unusual Whales, so you'll see like suspicious flows coming in, whether that's weekly, a couple months out, whatever it might be, or maybe even a year out. But that's also a good place to spend some time and better understand how we are looking at the broader flow. Physics and Helix, these are just what power our internal systems. If you are curious to see what it looks like, great, go for it. The smoother it is, the better it is for a trend day. The more volatile, in this case, is a pretty volatile setup, so we'll see how that goes today. The more ups and downs you'll get through the day. Now, swings is what I look at quite a bit because I want to understand, what are some swings that he's looking at. So he's short AAOI, he's long on Hood and Path and low, and short on Tesla. This is also powered by a lot of EMAs, MACD, RSI, but also dealer flow. And then using math and physics to better understand where the price might end up. It's pretty nice to go look at. One thing I do like to look at a lot is rotation. So we'll see that there's a lot of money, at least $3.8 billion flowing into healthcare. That's actually pretty bearish for the broader indices and ETFs because a lot of money, or at least in this case, some amount of money is going towards healthcare sector. So it's better to play healthcare names right now, like the Eli Lillys, the UNHs of the world, and financials, because that's where the money's inflowing. Great, I think that's cool. And the money's outflowing from energy, of course, because we've seen this from what's happening in Iran and the Middle East. And technology, obviously, we've seen this with Tesla dropping, with Master dropping, with all these tech names dropping. It's kind of cool to better understand where these are going. So we basically go from the index, which is SPY, into the sector, which is XLV, and then from that, we have stock picks within that, right? So J&J, he's long, Lilly, he's long. Tesla, it has a moderate inflow, so it boosted his confidence, but you have predefined stop losses and entries and take profit areas and when it's invalidated, right? So I really like looking at this, and it helps me better understand where I want to be positioned, whether that's for weeklies or a couple week out swings. Short on Microsoft, long on GPM, that's a pair trade that you can go look at if you wanted to, or maybe even pick one or two of these individual stocks to go and plan around that. So that's that. One new thing that we built out is called Playbook. It's a write-down consolidation. We can see this on the chart directly, and I'll show you that in a second. But we know that they've been buying the 75/30 calls for September 18th for the last couple of weeks at this point in time. So there's mixed flow on this, but overall it's pretty bullish for that third week in September. And you'll get a narrative around this. It's kind of cool to better see where the floor is, where the wall is, etc. And then you can kind of go do the same thing for SPY, QQQ, IWM, and RET, and whatever else. So he's bullish today, he's bearish tomorrow in IWN and for the rest of the week. Maybe that affects the broader market. Maybe it goes to SPY and QQQ, but it is all there for you to look at. And again, you can go and look at his own trades if you wanted to. I find that they're pretty helpful in better understanding the trends. Like on, I think it was like the first, he was buying calls, ended up becoming profitable. At the end of the day, for whatever reason, at 230, 223, he bought puts, got out of them, and then the market went to the direction that he wanted. So that's how George works in a nutshell. And then we'll go see how this kind of shakes up in real time as the market opens. But that's a quick overview of how George works. I'll share the recording here later in the day. And then there's also a separate recording that I ended up doing with George, a couple of weeks ago back in June. So if you want to go look at the entire summary once again, it's all there. I'll paste both of these links when we're done with the live stream. Any questions before we get into charts here? Going once, going twice. All right, cool. Let's go through some charts. So on SPY, what I'm really seeing here is either a breakdown or a break away moment, right? So we've been in this range for the last couple of weeks, and it's getting tighter and tighter, as you can kind of see, right? We had an order block here, got into a nice displacement area. That area held, and then we kind of moved up here. So this is either going to go break down towards the downside, towards like 700 probably in the next couple of weeks, or it's going to go break up towards all-time highs. I'm leaning all-time highs personally because when I see this pattern, a lot of people will say like this is a bearish pennant or whatever it is. Yeah, I can see that, but typically it's not the highest probability setup. And so what I see is that this is just a double tap to kind of go higher. I'm still seeing higher highs and higher lows on the daily. So I think this is going to go up towards 760 maybe in the next couple of weeks. Maybe this takes all summer. I don't know. But as you can see, it's getting tighter and tighter here. So that's what I'm looking at. Call wall is, I really want to see SPY clear 752. That's a target that I have. If we can get there today, even better. That means we're going to go towards 760 by the end of the week. If we don't hold this area, we'll likely come back down towards 740 before we decide to go higher. So that's what I see on SPY. On QQQ, it's kind of a bit of a different story because Qs are, in this case, lagging behind, and you have lower highs and lower lows, as we can kind of see. So maybe this consolidates here for a little bit in this area, which we've accumulated for in the last couple of weeks anyways. And we'll see if this wants to, fly up or fly down. We'll decide, or we'll let the market tell us what it wants to do. But you do have a call wall at 700 here, and then the put wall at 700. I don't think we're going to break that. And your call wall is at like 730 at this point in time. So let's see if it clears up this. Above 730, this will just squeeze, and below 700, this will break down towards like 690 probably really quickly. So that's that. IWM, we did a couple of swings on this on Thursday. We got the 300 calls. They were pretty profitable. They're like up 20-30% by the end of the day on Thursday. I still have a vast majority of mine. So let's see if the 300 calls end up printing today. If not, that's totally fine. We'll find some other plays. But you're likely to reject here at the call wall at 300, and your put wall is at 290 on IWM. So we'll see where that ends up. I do like Master as a short personally. I think this is something that everyone else sees, but you have a nice head and shoulder pattern here. You're rejecting this area. They sold $20 million worth of Bitcoin today alone. Let's see if that continues moving forward. But if you kind of overlay Bitcoin versus Master, you can kind of see where we are, right? So like we might come into support here, but overall Master is kind of in a tough spot because they're selling their stock when it goes above 1, and they're selling Bitcoin when it goes below that as well. So let's see where that goes. I do like how Master's shaping up for a short. I really like meta calls. I don't know why. But for me, this area held. This is a nice displacement area. This is a nice cup and handle. So I do think you're going to go towards 636 by the end of the week, if not sooner. So I like how that chart looks. Micron, I think there's a lot of money flowing out of Micron and some of the Western names like Western Digital into like the SK Hynix, because SK Hynix will start trading on the 10th, I believe. And frankly, it just has more growth and it's cheaper PE-wise compared to something like Micron or Samsung or whatever it might be. And as it stands, it's making lower highs and lower lows, but you're now in this breaking wedge pattern, whatever it's called. You're either going to go up really fast or go down really fast. My money is on down, frankly, because money will come out of this going towards SK Hynix later in the week. And then DRAM, I did get some calls on this. I might just start up a leap position because they have exposure to SK Hynix and others. The way that I see this is like you have an inverse head and shoulder pattern. If this gap fills, I'm looking at calls. I'm going to set up a leap position, and we'll see where that goes. And as mentioned, SanDisk has earnings today, I believe. They'll be fine. I think they'll do really well. It's either SanDisk or Samsung. I can't remember which one, but one of them has earnings, and we'll see where that goes. That will directly impact things like EWY, which is the Korean index. I might get some calls on this just to get some exposure, or maybe even Koru. just to get some exposure for this, for their earnings for the end of the week. And again, you're seeing a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern there. One thing I do want to call out on SPY is I see a head and shoulder pattern here, but at the same time, I also see an inverse head and shoulder. So we'll see which one wants to win out here. I have no clue. I want to remain a bull because that's where I make most of my money. You can already tell from all the Discord messages that I've sent and the trades that I've taken, 90% of them are calls, less puts. And the reason for that is like markets typically just go up over time, and we're still making higher highs and higher lows ever since we bottomed out here on March 31st. So as long as this trend remains intact, my mind is towards all-time highs, less so on the breakdown here. So market opens in about a minute. We'll see what we get. I'm going to watch for the first 15 minutes as I usually do, and then we'll probably take some SPY plays right at open, and we'll see how those kind of perform. If they go to zero, they go to zero, but I don't want to oversize today because we don't have the volume right now to support a thesis. Plus, we have some news coming out at, I think it's at 10 a.m. I think Trump's out in meeting the heads of state at, I don't even know where it is. And then we do have some news at 11 a.m. I think one of the Fed speakers is speaking. So quite a few things going on today. We'll see where it ends up. I did swing some very light size 746 calls that are in the money. I'm literally going to sell these at open and call it a day because I don't want to hold on to them. And then I'm looking at puts right now because this looks dumpy as hell. And we'll see what George does. Here's your opening print. Let's see if we got a read here. If we do, great. If not, then we'll decide what to do. It's still an experiment, by the way, so we'll see where that goes. IWM calls are up about 40%. Please take the win if you haven't already. And
market manipulation detected.
Most of these right now. And we got 63% on these IWM calls. I left 3 runners. Just to show you what I mean. There we go. You're up 66. Take the win. And if anyone swung SPY calls with me, I don't think anyone did. You're up about 146% here. So TBD. I'm going to sell both of them because I really don't care. Verizon calls are still up 55%. We'll see where that goes. I'm happy with the gains either way. I want to watch the first 15 minutes and I want to see what George does because I'm really curious about that. We're seeing a lot of SNDK calls come in already, which is kind of cool. He's neutral. We're standing aside. Cool. Works for me because not a lot of volume. And he's posted something in Apex. Let's go see what he did. Bearish. Oh, cool. That's kind of nice validation for me because I was bearish before coming into this. I've sold my SPY calls. Great. I want to watch 15 minutes anyways, and then I want to get some puts. I want to look at the 744 puts probably because that's where likely we'll come back to. And the reason I see it as like we have a displacement here.
Position.
If we reject here, we come back 2 levels basically. And if we hold here, then I'll get some calls, but it looks like it's kind of come back down here before we decide to go set up a inverse head and shoulder towards the upside. And by the way, there's no rush. We don't have to rush into anything at all. Like we can wait all day if we wanted to. We can just play MOC and get those 500% wins. Hopefully we can have a first entry at 10 a.m. instead of at 9:32 a.m. So we'll watch and see how this develops. But overall, I'm pretty bearish and looks like George is as well.
Watching position.
771K bearish print. That's cool. And let's see what happens in 0DTE tickers. Moo calls, oddly enough. But they're kind of like, oh, they're weeklies. These are in the money already. These are in the money. Tesla puts are coming in. You have mixed flow on Tesla, probably best to stay out of that. And Meta calls, this is what I was saying. Meta looks pretty good to me. But these are a bit longer dated, so let's watch. I do like Uber calls. I want to wait till 2 p.m. though. Oh shit. George is making he's saying SPX is bullish. Oh yeah, one thing I do like is AVGO calls. I don't know if I want to rush into this, but I do like how this is gonna squeeze. So I might just set up a position right now. And I'm gonna oh damn, these are expensive now. Crap. Oh, these are puts. I'm looking at the wrong one. 385 calls. I might just get like 5 of these and 4 of these rather, and just see where this end up. Uber, let's go look at. I also like Netflix weeklies. This actually looks bearish to me, but I don't know. I'm just gonna find the right chart for SPX. 1 second. There we go. And I'll put SPY here because I like to see both of them together. And what I'm gonna do is set up a master short as well. I'm just gonna get the 90 puts and see where these end up. I'm just gonna get 1 as a starting point. You see how we saw that Suts print come in right at open when George said go short, and then we saw that rejection there. It's pretty neat. So they're buying or just selling some of these calls. Sorry, so we know that they're selling these out of the money calls right now. IWM 300 calls, almost in the money. I'm going to sell my last 3. They're up 89%. I'm happy with the gains. I don't need to get every single dollar out of this. I'm going to sell all these at 108 if I can and just take the win, y'all. I'm still gonna watch the first 15 minutes, but what I might do is just take some light size SPY puts. Light size. You know what? It's already gone. I'm not gonna chase that. When I see this, I'm not gonna chase it. It's a rule that I have for myself. There's no point. I'd rather just wait for another entry.
Watching position.
Stand the calls. Calls are imminent. Okay, we'll see. We'll see if you're right, George. Usually when I see a big print, that's when I'll full size on them, but right now there's no actionable setup, so not really doing much. And he's neutral. Okay, I'll wait, George. I'll wait. Yep, no volume either. And Sean says Palantir calls look good here. Yep, probably. On the 4 hours, I see rejection, to be honest. This is an inside bar, inside bar, inside bar, inside bar. So it'll probably come back down into the 50% of the ADR before we decide to go up. So I do like how this is looking. I just want to give it some time to develop. 1 hour. Let's go look at that. 1 hour looks pretty good. My only worry right now is this rejection area. If we close above 130 or start getting up there, then I'll take some calls. Or if we come back down towards this area, then I'll get some calls because I want to have a clear breakaway here before something changes. I see the inverse. I see like an inverse cup and handle. Like this is what I see personally, Sean. Channel, go down before going up. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't trade Palantir that much, but that's what I'm looking at there. I think I want to see is what QQQ is doing. And IWM is doing. Because usually one of these will tell us if it's going to pump here or not.
Well, a very good morning, folks. IWM is bullish.
IWM is bullish indeed, and the 300Cs are almost in the money. Good call on those.
Thank you, thank you. Wait, this isn't the Magic Kingdom. Hawkeye, you are handsome as well. By the way, if anyone took those DRAM calls we were talking about the other week, they worked out very well.
Oh yeah, the 65Cs. Nicely done.
Yeah.
One of the cool things I like about George as well, he'll tell us there's the magnetic pull towards the 7500 pin, and then you're approaching the 7520 call wall, so we'll get some rejection here, most likely, which we've already seen happen at 7520. So let's see if it comes back down, and then it'll fill that gap, and we'll get some calls. Frankly, the less we have to think about what the market makers are doing, the better, because George can see that better than us. No setup, so I'll wait. Okay, George has flipped long. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna get some. I really want to be close to the money here, but I also don't want to rush into it. I'll wait 3 more minutes. I'm just watching the premiums. If these start increasing on the 750 calls, I'm gonna get more. Intel calls coming in, silver calls coming in. Tesla calls coming in, oddly enough. Let's see what Tesla's doing. Huh. Interesting. Fill that gap. For Wednesday. Oh, interesting. Not a lot of volume though, 150K. Moo bearish, Apple bearish, yep. Tesla bullish, I guess so. You know what's a fun lotto right now? Tesla calls. The 400's not bad at 250. Even the let's see what the levels are. 408 and then 413. 405's not bad at 127. 410 at 63, not bad either. Might just get like 3 of these, see what happens. Okay, one more minute, then I'll decide what to do. Oh, George saying get calls. Do we believe him or not is the question. I think data's coming out at 10 a.m., right? They might just wait till data, to be honest. Nicely done, Timmy. 120% on these IWM calls. GG.
I think some people even got a discount as well, so.
Yeah, no? I was not one of those people, unfortunately. I paid full price.
Hey, as long as you get over 1%, it's a profit. Of course, 100% is also nice.
I don't like that rejection. I really don't. Okay, now we can get some calls. I think this is going to go. These premiums just jacked up. Let's get some 752 calls. How about that? I can get 6 of these for like 26. And if you're playing SPX, you can get the 75, 30 calls. Let's see how much they're worth. $700. I don't know if it's worth the risk, to be honest. Maybe the 7550s at 2. 40s at 3. Not bad. I might just get 2 of these at 350 if I can snag it. All right, let's see where that goes. And Tesla calls are up about 20%. Not a lot, but we'll see where those go. Quite a bit of day left too. And what is George saying? He opened a trade, didn't he? Oh, yeah, he's playing calls. Calls. Opening print worked out. We saw a little drawdown there. Could have got like a 50% move. Not great, not bad. And then he flipped long. So, worked out. Good job, George. Good job. And 7540s at 350 F fill. I'll post a message. Small size 7340C at 350. SPY 752 at 25. Very, very small. Looks like a chop day in the making.
The other thing about profit here, folks, I know like those IWM calls, which we swung, ran at well over 100%. You don't need to wait for 100%. If you're comfortable with 10, comfortable with 20, by all means, always feel free to take it.
Nicely done. And Tesla calls are up about 67%. Here's your proof. If you got fill on those, even at a discount, you're up quite a bit. Please take the win if you want. I'm going to hold these because I think it's going to fly towards 408. But what do I know? I hope they don't chop us up. Oh, there's data at 10, right? So I'll keep the stream on till 10 and then we'll see where this goes.
All right, we're about to get $50, probably sooner than later, contract on the 7540s. If this remains.
Yeah, they're up like 5%. Not bad. 6%. Cool. There's 10. I mean, take the win if you want. I'm going to hold these a bit longer because, as I said, most of my trades take about an hour to develop. Okay, something just happened. George just fired off an alert. Oh, yeah, he's getting calls. Cool. Oh, no, they're buying Tesla puts. That's not ideal. Tesla calls are green. If you want to take the win, take the win. because we can see they're loading a couple of puts. Whether they're hedges or not, I don't know. And I think Sean's right on the rejection. It might, if it flips a call wall, though, it's going to fly. It's going to squeeze so hard. So I'd rather just hold them. And they're up 83%. There's almost 100% there. Take the win, y'all. Like, I'm not trying to lead you astray here. I'm just trying to make sure you guys have profitable trades. There's 103. Like, take the win. Come on. Yes, Microsoft does look like it wants to come back up, and the reason I say that is because George just told me it's going to fly. So let's see where that goes. You're up 120% on Tesla calls. Take the win. And these went down in premium. That's not ideal. All right, we'll see where that goes. Still got time. I don't know if we're going to get another 20x Tesla trade, but you're up 144. Like, take the win. I'm not going to repeat myself because as long as you don't DM me saying you got bagged, I'm happy. Back up 10% there almost. Yeah, I definitely really got to flip 300 there. If they flip the call wall, it's going to fly. We're up 23% on SPX call. Please take the win at this point in time. Like, I can't, I don't know if we can do better in the first 30 minutes. I'm going to hold these because, again, my trades take at least an hour to develop.
All right, folks, that's over 20% there on the SPX/SPY. If you entered into that, probably a little bit more. Again, not a bad place to take a trimmer if you have it.
Yeah, or just take the win. Like, don't let a trade go red. You're up to about 25%. Please take the win and move on. Plenty of day left.
Because one of the things that we've seen is that we get these nice morning moves, maybe a nice midday if we're lucky, and then it's MOC. That's it.
Exactly.
Dell's popping off, by the way.
Yeah, because Trump said buy Dell, so I get it.
Remember there was the ad so many years ago where they say, you're getting a Dell.
Oh, yeah. And it's red. See, this is why I said just take the win. I'm going to hold these because I think it's going to come back, but it might take a bit of time because data's coming out in 7 minutes. You know what? This is about to flip bullish as hell. This is about to flip like mega ham. Like, look at the upside billing here. It's pretty good volume too.
Watching position.
Back in the green. You could have got a 20% discount there. Oh well. Let's watch till 10. See what happens. It'll be fun. Oh, Rhett's script flipped. He went bullish. Okay, buddy. It's gonna fly, isn't it? Yep. All the calls are coming in. Okay, cool. That's nice. That's nice.
God, I need to move this guy.
You say you gotta move to scat? I'm gonna watch till 10 and then I'll close the stream. You should be green though. I mean, you got 140% on Tesla, 25% on calls here. I'm gonna hold these anyways. IWM call swings up about 100%. SPY call swings 140%. So decently green morning.
I said I needed to move this cat. My
Your cat.
my brother has a male Bengal. Very nice, incredibly affectionate, incredibly attention seeking.
Y'all see this? 75, 25 calls, 30 calls. They're coming up. All right. But yeah, I love cats, man. Dude, I'm jealous. I miss my cats. My cats are at my parents' place, but I want to be able to trade with them because it'll be a lot of fun.
Nice till they jump on the keyboard.
Yes, and then you accidentally fat finger 100 contracts of the thing you don't want.
And then it ends up somehow working out.
Exactly.
Watching position.
Oh, look, they're buying 76.9 Cs for September 10th. That's not going to work out. Cool. Oh, Marvel calls are coming in. Weird.
And
For
this guy's
821. Weird.
brushing against me like no tomorrow.
Cats are going to do that when they know you're profitable.
Easy, no, he like cats do scent marking. That's what he's doing.
Man, I love cats. I miss my cats.
The thing about this guy is he's I get Bengals, incredibly tall cats.
Yeah.
So
One of my cats, whenever I worked, she would like just sit up on me, kind of like that. And then she would not leave. So there were times where I just had to like work with her on my lap. It's so nice. This cat is a menace though. Because when she gets really excited, she'll just like scratch you and she'll bite you and hold your hand. I miss her.
hold.
Tesla 405
Seems like
calls. Exactly right.
Seems like a nice experience.
Exactly.
Until you go to bed one night and accidentally reach for the cat treats instead. But story for another time. Right, easy.
I have tried eating cat food one time, just out of curiosity. Did not taste good.
Oh,
Cat food, not poo. You know what? I think the market's just waiting on data for 10. I don't know what's going on. Nothing's moving.
Easy wishes it was poo. Man, he's really going up against my leg.
PE is moving. Look at that. Cup and handle played out. Sick. All right, 2 more minutes and then we'll see what it does. I'll close the calls if we start closing below 7505. That's my invalidation. That means we're just going to go lower.
Oh, and you jumped on the keyboard.
Classic.
And we started dumping.
I'm cutting these calls. Actually, hold on. Hold up. What is going on? What data came out? No, it's all as expected. Why isn't it pumping? It's gonna flip. Okay, it's gonna flip up. I'm not worried. I can see why George said get in the money calls. Okay, you know what? I'm going to end the stream because usually what happens is as soon as I end the stream, the move that I want actually happens. So I will see you all.